Big team versus Navy SEAL team. Why would someone want a really big real estate team versus a smaller, more manageable, more compact team? Because a very small, compact team leaves the team leader very exposed. And what do I mean by that is, if you only have 3 agents and 2 of them leave you, what happens? You're stuck. You're upside down. You're handcuffed by those 3 agents. You can't afford to make any changes to your business. You can't afford to do things that are gonna move the needle business-wise because you may be afraid that those agents are gonna leave you. When you have a bigger team, you have more control actually over your business because you can make some of those hard business decisions if you're constantly recruiting and bringing people on. Because guess what? Some people are gonna leave you, right? Like, I was the Navy SEAL guy before. I thought, I just wanna have this very small team, everybody's gonna do great, blah, blah, blah. And I realized that leaves me very exposed to a lot of vulnerability and a lot of things that could go wrong, right? With a bigger team, it allows you potential for more growth, more market exposure, more brand awareness. You know, you've got more people out selling homes. You've got more people that are talking about your team and about your business. Think about it this way. You've got 3 agents and all of a sudden you need to make a tough business decision. You need to change something that they're used to. Real estate agents, in my experience, they don't like change, okay? So that doesn't go well with them. They're more concerned about themselves, which is 100% understandable, right? They're more concerned about themselves and their well-being. And they like ritual. They like to get in their same thing. But as a team leader, as a business owner, you have to make some tough decisions. You may have to cut spending here to spend money over here. You may have to cut spending altogether. You know, we had to make some tough decisions this fall when sales went down. We had to cut some expenses, right? And when you have a bigger team, you know, you can afford that if 2 agents leave you, it's not going to hurt the business, right? If you're constantly recruiting, you're constantly bringing in new agents that are very excited to get in the industry and ready to grow their business. So they're willing to do some of the things that some of the older agents haven't. And you know, that's adaptability of agents. Like, what got you here will get you there. But the last couple years, it was a very different market that we probably won't see again for maybe ever or for a long time. Right? Like, you didn't have to be very good to sell real estate the last couple years. Completely honest, right? People became order takers. There were so many buyers that all you had to do was answer your phone and they would go buy a house. That's the reality. Now, you need to make your phone ring. You need to be making calls on a daily basis in order to find the buyers that are looking to buy, right? They're not just falling out of our pockets anymore. You know, a very good market makes a very lazy agent. A lot of agents are realizing that right now. A lot of them are realizing that what got them here isn't gonna get them there, because what got them here was a good market, not their skill set or their daily habits.
Right, and now it comes down to, is it more skill set or is it more daily habits?
Work works. Skills can be learned. Experience comes with doing the same thing over and over again. Like, my coach says it all the time. He'll take a hardworking agent over somebody with skills all day long. Somebody who's willing to put in the work is gonna get the results if they have the right guidance, okay? They will get better over time. You gotta put the reps in on a daily basis. You gotta be willing to make the calls on a daily basis to get the outcome that you want.
Hey, let's talk about your experience watching agents grow. What kind of transformations have you seen when they join your team, and like, is it cool to see their growth overall? Like,
I had this conversation yesterday with a couple agents, actually 2 different agents that I talked to in our local market, and you know, I'll be completely transparent. I was probably making more money several years ago as a single agent. More net take-home income. But what I have now with our team is I'm maybe making the same amount of money potentially, but I had 3 agents that made 3 times as much money as they've ever made in their life over the last couple years. That is now what fulfills me, is helping these agents achieve goals they never thought possible, because we have the right systems and the right tools to allow that growth, right? And that is what kind of fulfills me now. And I told this agent, I said, I wasn't concerned about my personal life, right? I did a lot of damage early on in my life to my personal life, right? So I had a lot of things to fix. But in order to fix those, I had to be all in on the business for multiple years, right? It was 80, 90, 120 hours a week for 6+ years in order to get where I'm at now. Well, guess what? Now I'm enjoying life while also running a very profitable business. But it was all the reps I put in 6 years ago that got me to where I'm at today. And now I'm able to transfer all the knowledge that I have over to these other agents. And to watch their growth is truly what makes me happy now. Like, I love watching an agent succeed. I love when I get the phone call that they won the offer. I get the phone call that, hey, we're in multiple offers and that strategy you told me, that was the best one and we ended up winning, right? That's what fuels me now, is helping these agents grow. And it wasn't what I was looking for. 6 years ago, if you would have told me I'd have 10+ agents on our team and all this staff and everything, I would have said, you're crazy. It wasn't what I was looking for. This all evolved. It wasn't the plan initially, but I'm taking it day by day, step by step, and we'll see where it goes.
And that's crazy, because you really do see some of these agents coming as like basically babies in the industry, never having sold a house, to now almost just getting the process down fully, right? And only asking those little questions, and you're like...
I had an agent that's been licensed for less than 2 years and he's already sold 57 houses. Like, the success comes, it's not me, it's him or her applying what they've learned in doing the work, right? That's where most of them won't do the work.
What are your goals with the team? Where do you see this business being, let's say? Because you're the visionary, aren't you? So explain.
I want to help agents grow and have a life that they never thought possible, right? This real estate industry has given me a life I never dreamed possible. But it was all the hard work I put in years ago that is now reaping some of the results today. And seeing that and being able to transfer that to other agents on the team and watching them grow it's coming from somebody who was a recovering alcoholic, who alcoholism is a very selfish disease. Like, you only care about yourself. Flat out, right? I had to learn to care about others, and now I care more about others than I care about myself. Now, that doesn't mean I let myself go to hell, right? I take care of myself, but in reality, like, I care about others way more than I ever have in my entire life, and making sure that others are going to be happy and succeed. And real estate's just a vehicle for us to reach the life we want to live. It's not like, I'm not in this real estate thing to just sell real estate forever, right? I want to achieve like my personal goals. But real estate is the vehicle that allows us to make the money to do the things that we want to do in our personal life. And if you're not invested in the daily activities that are going to allow that, then you're never going to reach those personal goals, right? Like, the personal goals can be whatever the hell you want them to be, if as long as you're willing to put the work in. And that's one of the things that we're focusing on with our agents this year is, hey, what do you want to achieve on a personal level? Because I can basically build the framework for you to get there. You may not like it. You may not get there because you don't want to do the work that's involved to get you there. But I can reverse engineer what you want and tell you exactly how much work you're going to need to do in order to get there.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
What should they focus on right now in their business specifically?
Lead generation. It's going to take more calls. I'm seeing it right now with all of the showings that we're having. The consumers don't feel rushed anymore. Buyers are not in this frenzy to go out and they have to go see a house and put an offer in while they're standing inside the house. They're able to go home and think about it overnight. They're able to go and look at 20 houses and make a decision versus looking at 3. And I'll tell you what, that's a big shock for a lot of agents that got in the industry the last couple of years, right? The time that a potential buyer, potential lead comes in to the time that they actually transact is longer than what it used to be. Why? Because they're not feeling that frenzy, that rush to get out there and put an offer in like while they're at the property, like I just said. What it's making these agents do is better lead follow-up, better lead nurturing, right? Because it's gonna take them longer to transact, so you better stay in constant contact. Because I can guarantee if that lead came in and signed up on your website and they're looking at properties on your website, do you think that's the only site they're looking on? No, they're probably on 3 or 4 because most consumers are very confused. They don't understand that this website's gonna have the same properties as this one, which is the same as this one. They're all looking for that unicorn, that secret property that's out there. Like, we have it happen all the time. So the agent who stays constantly in front of the client, but here's the key, providing value to that client, right? Give them constant little nuggets of value. And if you can outvalue the other agent, you're gonna win in this market. What does outvalue mean? Experience. If you've sold more homes previously, you're gonna have more experience. You're gonna have the knowledge to transfer over to that potential buyer. Be able to tell them, hey, if this is what you're looking for, this is not the right neighborhood. We probably wanna look over here. But if you're a brand new agent and you don't know the difference between X, Y, and Z, it's all up in the air, right? You have no direction to be able to point them in. So
how do you overcome that then?
Studying the market, studying the areas, understanding what an area is selling at, like an average price per square foot for a particular city, right? You need to know off the top of your head, like what each area, how much price per square foot is. I just had this conversation with one of my agents yesterday, and our agents this is always a work in progress, right? Because it's not a set price per square foot. There's a range, right? But you need to know, like, for an average house in an average area for blah, 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 what's the average price per square foot? That's gonna help direct you. So when you go into a property with a buyer, you look at the price before you walk in there. When you're walking through, you go, oh, it's overpriced. Why? Because you know the market. You're able to advise that client better because you already understand what the other homes are selling for. So you're able to advise them, hey, this is a good deal, this is a bad deal, this is overpriced, and you're able to work up your offer and negotiate to what you feel is the right price for that potential buyer.
Yeah. What are some things you learned when you made your first hire? Because this is now, let's say you are an agent and you're like, I'm gonna start my team. Like, what do you think you've learned with hiring so many people, as well as like with specifically your first hire? What to look for?
If I could do it all over again, my very first hire would be an assistant. I don't know. I got 2 very first hires, an assistant and probably an ISA or somebody setting appointments for me, right? Because a lot of my time early on in this business, most of it was spent with lead nurturing, lead follow-up, and that's time consuming, right? So if I can't sell a house if I'm following up with a lead behind the computer, right? Like, you need to be out doing business. So if you have somebody else that's setting those appointments for you, you potentially are able to fast forward your career. Right? Now the next thing comes is the bottleneck of doing the paperwork, the transaction part, which I wasn't good at. So I hired that assistant first because I wasn't great at all the details of the contract and hitting deadlines and everything. Not that I was bad at it, I didn't enjoy it. So I hired to my weakness. I hired to somebody that was better, more organized than I was, so they could take care of those things. And I could focus on what I like to do, get out and showing houses with buyers and sellers.